Beams and parts delivery to the Quarry Landslide in Zherbai Quarries. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of SnowRunner here at Opafed Gaming. I am the Opafed. We are here at the helicopter pad unloading area in the Zherbai Quarries in the Almaty Region. We're driving our trusty Kenworth 963 and we're working on the broken spiral task, which is to deliver to the Quarry Landslide 1 metal beams and 2 service spare parts. Now, we only have 3 cargo slots, but if you're familiar with some of my videos, then you would know that I don't really care too much, or am very good at pulling a trailer. So what I'll do is I'll use the Kenworth 963 and I'll put 4 cargo units on a 3-slot flatbed, which is what we're going to do here. We'll just take it up, put it up on top. Now, we are a stickler for trying to keep it neat and tidy, so we do have to turn it around, and then we'll put it down and drop the crane on top of it to hold it in place. Now, the cargo underneath is not going to go anywhere because it's strapped down, and the case up top is going to be held by my crane. Now, unfortunately, I pulled it a little bit too far forward. As you can see, now I'm going to be driving away and it's going to bounce a little bit because I don't have it secured quite right. You see that little wheel underneath? Oh shit. And then it accidentally moves. But just hang on and we will be fixing that. We're making lots of mistakes on this channel, the same way as we do when we do a delivery. But we're going to fix her up yet, because we're a stickler for trying to get it right, I suppose. That's the excuse I'm going to use, and we're going to stick with it. Now, lift it up just a little. Okay, well, okay. If you think you can drive all the way over there with that box sitting crooked, even though that crane is on there properly, it's not going to happen. You know that. Of course, you're going to have to straighten it out a little bit, because the cargo will bounce a little bit when you're driving through terrain like this. It's a little rough. And when it bounces, it could kind of slide off the side. Now, it's not going to go anywhere because it's still held on by the crane, but it just doesn't look very nice. So I thought, well, let's just straighten it out. Okay, there we go. That's better. And then when you put the crane down, now if you put it back a little bit further like that, then the head of the crane lays on there flat, as you can see. And the whole crane head holds it down. So it's time to go. Okay, we're ready. Now the Kenworth 963, if it's allergic to ice. Ice is about the only thing that holds it back. Other than that, it's probably, as far as I'm concerned, and that's just my opinion, the best truck in SnowRunner. I mean, anything that any other truck can do, the Kenworth can do, with the exception of crossing ice roads. When you got deep water to try and cross, we got high air intake, big tires, not a problem. When you got boulders to run over top of, as long as they're not too big, well, if they're too big for the Kenworth, they're too big for everybody else too. But regular sized boulders, not a problem. So the Kenworth 963 in this case was the best truck for the job. Now, the next best one would have been the Plaid 450, or any other truck for that matters that holds 2 cargo slots, but then you'd have to make 2 trips. Now we only have to make 1. We're putting a little bit extra on without really overloading it. I mean, I've seen some videos where they put so much on, you wonder how that thing gets down the road. Anyhow, that's not the case here. All we need is the 1 metal beam and the 2 service spare parts. So the job will usually dictate what truck you're going to need to use. You know, if we only needed the metal beams, there would really be no point in driving a truck with as long a frame as this truck. You could have taken one with this little shorter frame, which takes the corners a little bit better than the Kenworth. It being so long. But we needed all the slots. So as we're coming down here, just take it easy. And if you hit a few of the boulders, that's okay. It just rolls right over top of them, not a problem. You know, there again, like I've mentioned every time I have a video, speed kills. The faster you go on SnowRunner, the more trouble you're going to get yourself into. going slow, you can usually catch yourself in time if something does happen. Now, this particular delivery that we got to do, going through this here muddy little pond and some boulders there, this particular task will clear a rock landslide at the top of the quarries. And the Avonhorn A15 is sitting there waiting for me to come there with this cargo and clear that rock slide so he can take that route to go down to the bottom of the quarries. Now, we're going to use the Avonhorn A15 because it's got a nice short frame, and when you're pulling that, we're going to be pulling a construction semi-rig trailer out of there, and when you're pulling that out of there, you really don't want to have a long truck and then a long trailer, and it's going to make it really tough to get around some of the corners, as you'll see if you join us in our next video, which is going to be posted probably the day after this one. So that'll be the second part basically of this, even though they're different tasks, but we have to do the one to be able to get to the other one. Now just up ahead here, don't forget the little detour on the left hand side. There again, you know, it seems silly to say it or to even think about it, but you got to go slow. That's just all there is to it. Anybody that's in a hurry, they're not going to enjoy this game because you're going to get yourself into so much trouble. Taking it easy is the way to do it, which is just right up my alley. I just love this kind of game. Great graphics, great gameplay, and you could pretty much do whatever you need to do with a truck like this as long as you take your time to do it. If you're in a hurry, you're going to drive off the road, you're going to tip it. Yeah, there's all sorts of things that can happen. Now as we're coming back up on the highway, it's going to be header down the road, and we're going to be bypassing the garage where we initially started from, but not today, because we started from the helicopter landing pad or unloading pad. But we're going to be heading past the garage, and then just up ahead a little bit on the left-hand side will be a dirt road where we got to go into, and that'll bring us over to the Quarry Landslide. All pretty straightforward driving. I mean, this is, you know, it's highway driving, so there's not much of a problem. And even when we go over the terrain, when we go off-road, it's still pretty smooth. The corners are not that tight. So not really a problem for the Kenworth. This is basically a pick up and deliver job without any real problems. So there's really not much to worry about, other than some of the corners are a little bit tight, and that's about it. The garage is just here on the left hand side. We don't need to stop in. We got lots of fuel. Like I said, we got a big fuel tank, 510 liters. We got 326 left, and I believe we got 140, I think, on top of the roof. So we got plenty of fuel because we're over halfway there, and we're just going to go off-road just up ahead here. Now we're not too familiar with the map yet because we've only been here for a little while. So we put out a scout truck. We put our Ford 750 out here to show where we got to turn, just as a reminder. Okay, we're going to go off-road here, change the time of day so we can have a little bit of light so we can see where we're going. As you all know, the Opafet likes to drive with a little bit of light on. It's such a beautiful game when it gets dark, and I understand that sometimes it's cool with the darkness, but for me it takes a lot of the beauty of the game away. So, and I miss that, so I prefer to drive when it's light out. I wish they'd have a feature where you could leave it on all the time, but they don't. It rotates through it, so if you like the daylight hours, you have to advance the time so that you can have light. Now, like I said, through here, the road kind of snakes back and forth, and you end up having to drive over a few of the rocks or boulders or whatever. Not much of a problem. I don't think there's really any. There's a couple of little muddy areas, but with tires, and I believe that the Kenworth 963 and the Cat 745, maybe even the Chimera, I'm not sure, but they got about the biggest tires in the game. So we're doing okay here. As we're coming up here, we're getting pretty close to the quarry. And the quarry, that drive is going to be just one awesome drive trying to bring that trailer. I know what those semi-rig trailers are like, the construction ones, and they're huge. So it's going to be a real test for the Avonhorn to try and get up the quarry sides to deliver it to the logistics center. Anyhow, we're not there yet. First we got to clear the Quarry Landslide, and we're almost there. As we're coming around the corner, there's a few more back and forths and a couple of little mud pits, and that's about it. More a enjoyable Sunday afternoon drive, if that's what you want to call it. You know, not too many issues, just a nice little cross-country drive. And you see a little bit of everything. We've seen some boulders, we saw some dry road, we saw some highways, some dry dirt, a little bit of water, a little bit of mud, and one huge quarry pit right straight in front of you. I believe there's a couple of them on the map. I'm not sure. I haven't done a lot of scouting on it yet, or looking around. So a lot of things aren't sticking yet, but as we're rolling up along the side here of the top of the quarry, and we're right at the end of the road here. Just up ahead, we're going to turn to the left. Okay, this is the first quarry, and the one we're going to be going into later will be the second one, because it's one over. Now it's just as big as this one, as you'll see in a minute here. Right straight in front of us now. That's the one we got to go to the bottom of the pit with the Avonhorn. And as we come around this corner, you'll be able to see him sitting there waiting for us patiently until we've delivered our cargo. Look at the size of that pit. That's going to be one heck of a journey coming back up. Going to be exciting. That should, like I said, it should be out the day after this one gets posted. So I hope to see you back there again at Overfed Gaming when we do that one. And hopefully you'll be able to enjoy that one as well. I hope you enjoyed this one. And I hope you got some tips and tricks out of it. And if you just came just for the fun, so much the better. Because that's what we're all about here at Overfed Gaming. We play video games just for the fun of it. Until the next time, you've been driving in a Kenworth 963 clearing the Quarry Landslide with me, the Overfed.